to you after I take notes as usual. Usually by Monday or Tuesday, I'll have all this stuff being sent out to you guys. Okay, we still got a couple people logging in. Okay, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to make?
I'd like to make an announcement real quick. Over spring break, I'll be taking 12 of our dancers to the University of Oregon for the Northwest American College Dance Festival. And they've been super welcoming. It's the first time we get to visit University of Oregon. The students are excited. And last night we had a master class with Cal Poly's dance ensemble. And so Cal Poly's doing some recruiting for their dance program. So they've been going Bay Area wide to different junior colleges and high school dance programs. So just some feedback from the dance program.
All right, thanks, Cassandra. Anybody else have any announcements they'd like to make?
And Lenny, I might as well just do it right now. I have a quick one. I've set up April 15th in the morning for those of you, hopefully you can make that. For those of you that took the CPR first aid class from me last spring, to do our skills check. And then additionally, I'll be sending out an email for those of you that need it still with a link to the CPR first aid online training. You can do it on your own at your own pace. It takes about 2.5 hours to do it. So we'll do that on your own pace, and then we'll just do the skills check. And then you can join us also on the 15th that day. So we'll kind of knock out those people that took it last year and the people that need it this year too at the same time.
Hey, thank you, Jim. In regards to that, I did that. I can't remember the last time. Do you know, do you have the timelines on the people in our department, or is that could you look that up?
I once made a spreadsheet on my computer that has everybody's names on it, but it doesn't necessarily have everyone who, whether they're certified or not. And I know a couple people that are on this call have communicated with where they're at, and so some of you need to take that class this time frame. So
I guess my question is, do every single one of the online trainings require the in-person skills stuff?
They're supposed to. I know you did one that lets you not do the
yeah, that's where I was getting. I wanted to make sure mine was okay.
Yeah, I think it is,
Okay.
but from what I understand, you're supposed to do the skills check too for the to get certified. Yours is probably, I'm sure it's fine. So, yeah. But it is easier, and this one will be a little bit easier. I'm still working on getting the link into the email. I've got an email ready to go out, but the main thing is you have to set up your own before you can start. You have to set up an account with the Red Cross at the Learning Center. So, because I just tried it and I tried to click in there and it took me into the log into the Learning Center, and then when I opened it up, it just showed me the stuff I had already been taking. So then I went back over and clicked on the link that I had. And once I had that open for the CPR class or the first aid class, and it took
so for people in our department that are unsure, they can log on there and see if they've done something and get information about them personally. And then I would strongly advise you guys, if you're not up to speed or up to date on your CPR, man, that's one of our departmental extra guide or extra, things that we kind of throw on there that's just kind of mandatory for our classes, to be able to maybe save somebody's life if they collapse and vapor lock in one of our classes. And the AED training as well. We've already seen that save a life just on our pool deck last year. So please do that. And then Rose keeps track of all of those. And you can just send her a copy of it or a copy of the certificate that you get. Thanks, Jim, for kind of organizing.
Yeah. One last thing, Lenny, if you're unsure, I'll also put in that email, it just made me think about this. If you're unsure of when you were certified, if you've done it through the Red Cross, I'll send you the link to their website that you just type in your email and it'll look you up. and tell you when you're, what certifications you have and all that. So you can take a look at that if you can't remember.
Great. Thank you, Jim. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay. Dean Markovich, you are our guest of honor for this portion of the agenda. So
Can I do an announcement real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. At the state level for CCC, PEKD, we're gathering together because of AB 928, which is where the UCs and the CSUs are trying to have a common GE pattern, which could put our Area E electives in jeopardy with a lot of kines classes go into that, because CSU has an Area E lifelong learning, but UC doesn't. And so if they combine their common pathways and they remove that, that could remove the opportunity for us to have classes in that pathway. Another thing that could happen is that they're trying to find common transfer, a transfer pathway for all community colleges. So if the CSUs decide that they don't want to have those two activity classes required for a kines major transfer, then that puts all of our KFIT, a lot of our activity-based classes or K-team classes at jeopardy. So I'll send you an email after this meeting on that, and you can get up to speed, but it's going to take, our discipline's been under fire, several times around that past, and we have to be awake on this, because it's going to drastically change our discipline if the negative things come to fruition on this. And then in some good news, Jen Lautrette and I have been working really hard on developing the Pilates certificate, and we did get the approval for our certificates through the Majors and Review Committee. The next step is EPCC. And we're still writing the curriculum, so they allowed it to go forward without the actual classes being completely written yet. We're still working on that, and then it'll go as a package to CRC for approval after that. So that's in progress. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements or comments before we get into our reports? All right, okay, so Dean Markovich, you are on. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Morning, everybody. So obviously a lot of stuff going on and pretty busy still. First thing I want to do is make sure that everybody knows, and I also want to congratulate Jake publicly. Jake has resigned from being our head wrestling
coach. Retired.
Well, Jake's going to retire from being the head coach. Thank you. But he's still going to teach. So Jake will still be around, but I just wanted to publicly say thanks to Jake. Since I've been here, I haven't had to worry about his program. It's been really nice to have someone that's been doing it for that long, running a program and kind of just asking for help when he needs it. But I just wanted to say thank you, Jake, and congratulations on that. And thanks for all that you did for the wrestling student athletes, and obviously for KAD and being a huge part of KAD. So thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
You're welcome. I'll stick around and help out how I can, but no more weekends.
Just golf, baby. Just golf.
God bless you.
Jake, I'll miss seeing you upstairs in passing.
Cool. All right. So next on my list is we're doing adjunct hires right now. So it's kind of we have a lot on the plate for that. And we're going to have a couple different committees. We're going to have a APE committee, a dance committee, and then we're going to have a general KAD and coaching committee. So what we need is 2 full-time faculty for each one. So with dance, it's going to be Cassandra and I, and then we need another full-timer to volunteer to help with the adjunct hires for dance. And then for the general KAD and coaching, it's going to be Tara and I. And so we need another full-timer to volunteer for that. And then for AP, it's going to be Tara and I. And we need another full-time volunteer to be on that with us. So these will just be one-day interview process. They're about 30 minutes each. So we are starting to put that together. So please, 2 things on that. Make sure that if you have someone that in your program that you think should be applying for that, make sure that they do, because we're going to be pulling those applications soon. And then number 2, let us know who, if anybody else wants to volunteer and do some college service on that, okay? Next is the bond. As you can tell, we're finishing up. We still are doing some punch list on baseball and softball. But those fields we're really excited about those. And then the soccer field is pretty much done, but we're not going to take it over till summer. We're making sure that the grass is where we want it before we take it over. So that'll be able to be used sometime in July for soccer. The pool's getting close. We have an end date for the pool at end of April to get it released to us. And then same thing with the Bailey building is end of April. So things on there are coming along. As far as the Towser project went to DSA. Good news on the Towser project with it being such an old building. We did an application for more money to do, for the state to give us more money to help with the DSA seismic retrofit for Towser. And we think we were awarded about $2 extra million. So that won't have to come out of the Towser project. It'll be on top to do all that. But what comes along with that is doing some testing. So there's going to be some time this summer where Towser is going to be kind of hectic. They're going to be drilling big holes, not only inside of Towser, but around the outside of Towser to check the structural footings and all that stuff of the building. So I'll give you more information on that, but the summer in Towser is going to be kind of all over the place. We're still planning on moving at the end of the fall semester down to Anley Village. So anybody that works in Towser or has an office in Towser, you're going to probably want to start packaging up in the summer and the fall and be ready to move out of that down there.
Hey, Matt, can
Let's
I
see what
make a
else.
comment? Can I make a quick
Yeah, go
comment about that?
Yeah.
And maybe people are already doing this, but prioritizing the equipment in the weight room, because it's not all going to fit in Annalee Village. Do we know exactly what we want to bring over there yet?
I know APE sent me a list, or at least Des showed me a list. And what we need to do is get a list from the CAD faculty. Maybe I think maybe someone could take the lead, Dante or someone could take the lead where we could send him what we used out of there most. You got to understand that we only have one trailer for the weight room. Was hoping to have two. We might get another one down the road, but we only have one trailer for the weight room. So
How many
it's not
pieces?
going to fit a lot of stuff.
Just out of, not as specific, but how many approximate pieces did APE want to bring in there?
Well, some of the pieces they want to bring are some of the stuff we're going to bring as
Or
well.
Tara, could you tell us? Because I mean, we're going to be sharing.
I don't
the
know.
same-
That's what we need to do. We need to get one list together and see what both programs want to use. I don't know exactly how many.
Okay.
There was quite a few pieces they want to move.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you. We were just putting it together this last couple of days. So I'll send it to you, Lenny and Matt.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we're still in hope. The good news is I think the foundation building that they're getting moved into is moving faster than they were expecting. So we might actually get another trailer. So if we can get another trailer, then I plan on having kind of a machine trailer and a free weight trailer. So. But we're working on that, but we definitely want to, it's all not going to fit in there. You're right. What else? So the PRPP cycle has kicked off for next year. The governor's budget, in reading the governor's budget, it looks like it's going to be another good year for PRPP as far as IELM funds. So this year we're still purchasing a lot of stuff that were on our list, and we had some major things. So you guys know that were funded. We've been struggling to find a way to do a new cart for the athletic trainers, and we finally got that this year. We were purchasing a new scoreboard for Hale because that thing's like 15 years old. So Hale will get a new set of scoreboards for there. So we did some major things for the PRPP this year, which was nice. So it kind of depleted our list. So Justin's putting that list together, and I know he sent you guys an email about this, but if you have anything else you want to put on there, please put on there because it needs to be pretty much set in stone by the end of March. And then there's also ITG funds that we're working on as well. And those are kind of non-instructional technology equipment. So cameras, things like that. I'm putting in there more laptops, things like that we could use. So if you have ideas about that, just send those to Justin as well. but we're moving on those. Those got to be ranked and completed by like, I think, April 1st. So it's coming along. But if we get what we got this year, we're looking at $200,000 again. So it's a kind of a good year. So if you have some wants and desires, put in there. We're gonna put a lot of big ticket items in there too. So but I think that, oh, and last piece is the enrollment. We had a meeting, I think it was Monday, with the AAC deans and the academic deans and Jane, and we went over all the enrollment and talked about the last year and a half or so, or 2 years. And we looked at everybody's productivity numbers. We kind of laid out, where we think we should go opinion wise and things like that. But bottom line, there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. This is the lowest productivity I've ever seen CAD have. Our productivity is like right at 9 right now. And usually it's on a good year, it's at 17.5. And on a average year, it's like 15.5, 16. So we're really going to have to take a look at the enrollment stuff like that. And all the reasons why are valid reasons that we haven't had it, but and hopefully we'll get a big jump in enrollment with coming back to excuse me, with coming back to campus. The issue is we need to make sure that we are taking our time and scheduling the right classes in the right times and stuff like that. So the things that are kind of sunsetting, we have the ability to go below -26 on our full-time instructor load. That's kind of sunsetting, so we need to work on that, making sure that our full-timers get load and our full-timers get their reduced load back up. So we need to work on that. We need to work on making sure that we reach the number of 22 in a class. If you look through our schedule, I probably pushed the boundaries more than any time in the last year and a half that I have being here, but there's probably half the classes that are running right now are below 22. So that is not, from what I'm hearing, that is not going to fly anymore. There's not, and I don't know if this is 100% sure, it's probably a negotiated thing, but the idea of taking leave is probably going to be sunset as well with the opening up of the campus at the end of the May. So, but anyways, we're hoping to get back to some sort of normalcy come fall, which then puts the pressure on our enrollment, right? So I want to make sure when we're scheduling our full-timers in our impacted times first. So we make sure that all the full-timers get the load, and then we will be able to also strategize about what's best for our enrollment. But that's going to be a scary thing. So one thing we did talk about was where our FTS is right now is below where it was projected to be at, obviously because of COVID. But it's kind of a weird thing. And I don't have the specific numbers in front of me, but basically where Kate projected us to be in her budget planning, which is we're doing really well. It's up to like a 13% reserve. So her budget planning because of COVID is doing really well. Where she was expected us to be is way above where we actually are. We're kind of like this right now in enrollment. So that gap right there, if we don't get that up after COVID, that gap right there, we're sitting on a $16.7 million balloon that's going to have to be figured out how to reduce. So that's how serious the enrollment projections are. We've really got to close that gap by scheduling. So that's really what we got to do. So we really do need to take our time, start from scratch with the schedule for this fall, make sure that we're putting our full-timers in the best possible position to succeed and fill those classes. Okay, looking at balancing some late starts, balancing some online with in-person. I'm hoping, and this is just my personal belief, I'm hoping that we're being very aggressive to come back to campus. I'm hoping that the district is very aggressive to come back to campus because I think when people are back on campus, they take more of our classes in between their break times and things like that. And just the idea of having people on campus and that energy is what, in my opinion, is what's going to get us back to campus. So that's kind of the scary thing that we talked about this week was just that balloon gap of what happens when these COVID and fire waivers sunset and we have this big gap if we don't cut that gap down by improving our enrollment. So we really want to make sure, like I said, we brainstorm. Now's the time. You got ideas. There's not a bad idea. You have ideas, send it to Lenny, send it to Tara, she's doing Paloma, send it to Cassandra, she's doing dance. You know, send it anywhere you can to me if you have good ideas, because this is going to be important. And I think what it's going to coincide with is, my personal belief is, we need to take a top-down approach on, we need some direction from the board to the cabinet, down to AFA, to academic senate, to where we're all on the same page of how we're going to do this, right? Maybe it's a FTS projection, you know, allocation, if based on your productivity numbers. Maybe it's, you know, opening up the weekends or something, but any idea is a good idea. And I just hope the district could all be on the same page about what we're doing and how we're doing it to get us there, because it's pretty scary right now. So that's all I got. If you guys got any questions.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, if we have no questions, we'll just move along then to our department chairs report. And just some reminders, the summer schedule proof 2 has been turned in and will probably show up online very soon. And at the same time, we're working on proof 1 of the fall. So we sent the official ask out for fall, and we sent reminders out about summer. So hopefully you followed through on the areas where you were hoping to follow through on. And once the schedule is posted, then I'm going to remind you guys again, and please take a look and make sure there was no mistakes, so we can have it dialed in before the students start enrolling in the classes. Spring evaluations, full-time faculty, I've gone and assigned those of you on our list for our adjunct and full-time regular faculty evaluations, not tenure evaluations. So hopefully you guys have all connected and you guys have set up a date for an observation, or made the determination if it's going to be a self-eval or an eval, or if it's online, or what the format is. But please connect with the person that you're recruiting or getting recruited from. And if both of you have that on your radar, then you're more likely to probably get it done and connect. Any questions about evaluations from anybody that's being evaluated, or any evaluators out there for this semester? That's good, because it's confusing right now. Okay, Tara, I will double check, but they usually include those with our department as well when they send them to me. So maybe there's just nobody up this semester, which would be wonderful, but I will confirm that for you, Tara. Distance ed proposals, we had a number of people get involved with our completion of distance ed proposals before the deadline, so that they could be offered in fall 2022. And I think we were successful in our attempt to get everything that we anticipated being offered online with one of those distance ed approvals. So we're at some point during this semester, or maybe early in the fall, I have to check the dates, but we're going to want to make sure that all the classes for spring 23, if there are different ones that aren't included in fall 22, we just make sure we get those distance ed proposals in as well. Curriculum review, we have not gotten the list of curriculum that needs to be updated yet from for this semester. We were successful last semester, as we've been pretty much every semester, of staying up to date with our curriculum. And there's a few people in the department that are really workers on this stuff and get a lot of work done. So I appreciate all the efforts that everybody pitches in terms of reviewing classes, tech reviews, writing new courses, all of the above. But we are up to date as of right now. And so we're just kind of rolling along through that. That is about all I have for a department chairs report. But I would open it up if anybody has any questions for me about anything regarding to the agenda items, or anything that maybe I haven't talked about. Be happy to answer questions before we move on to our committee reports. All right, I don't hear anything, so we will get rolling. Committee reports, could we please get an AFA update?
All right, hi.
Sandra.
Hi, thanks. Recently AFA hosted a listening session for HighFlex, which is teaching asynchronous, synchronous, and in person all at the same time. And then the district and negotiations took it to the table. Karen Frindell will officially give the negotiations report in our next open session in April. But I can say that the district was absolutely not interested in funding faculty to teach in HighFlex modalities, and that we would have to incur costs on our own or within our department, and that there was some issues around HighFlex with auditing, and if we were to get audited, there may be a finding if we list classes in a HighFlex modality on the schedule. However, AFA is creating a workaround for individual faculty members who wish to use recordings or Zoom for their teaching purposes. I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but they are working on that. And so I invite everybody to join us at our next AFA open session. It's either the first or second week. When's Academic Senate, Tara? The first week of April,
Academic
first
Senate is
Wednesday?
First and third, and AFA.
Okay,
is
so we're
and
second.
fourth. Yeah.
Thanks, because we have that March 30th where we don't have anything. So yeah, so Karen Frindell will be reporting out on where we're at with that. I know for many CAD faculty members, it's really useful to teach in those modalities. So that's why the union is creating a workaround for individual faculty members, which is super cool. That's all.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Cassandra? All right, so let's go right into Academic Senate.
Hi, so we are definitely really focused on the hiring policy right now. We have, it's taken almost like the entire year, if not more, to get through that. So the parts we have agreed to, those are being forwarded for the fall to the board to be approved. We're kind of taking it in segments. And the area that we're focused on right now, which we could definitely use people's input on, is the student involvement in the hiring process. And there's right now, if you look on the Senate materials, there's like a list of options on how students can be involved. And we're looking at that on Wednesday, next Wednesday, to approve. And it could be anything from being on the hiring committee to to teaching demonstrations to a survey. There is even an option for committees to find a different way and get that approved. But students at SRJC are really wanting to be involved in this. I think they're feeling like their voices aren't heard, and they want to have some say in the hiring process and the faculty that we're bringing on board. So there's a lot of very outspoken students talking about this a lot everywhere. So we're looking at that. If you want to take a look at that and let me know. Also want to say a little bit about HighFlex. I've been teaching this way for a year and it's really helped my enrollment. So, and I just want to just really quickly explain really quickly how I do it. So when I go in to teach, let's say yoga, I have a laptop stand on my laptop. Now in Petaluma, I have this great giant portable screen, which is really cool. And I can see the students in a very big way that are on Zoom. And then I have my in-person students there as well. And so when I'm teaching, the camera to me is it's like looking at another student, so I'm looking around, I see the students. And so for example, some students will be, they have a lab on Mondays and they can't make it to my yoga class on Mondays, but they can make it on Wednesdays, or one day they're sick, or, whatever it might be. So they can either come in person or come on Zoom any given time. And then if they cannot attend, I have the recording of the Zoom. They then do the yoga practice and they set up a time-lapse video on their phone and ends up being 30 seconds. and then they attach that as a file in the participation assignment. And then I view that and give them points for participating. So again, that kind of, it's, I have a lot of high school students in my class that the class is in the middle of the day, and so they couldn't take it if because they're in high school. So so my enrollment, and that's why I really want to, hopefully we can put that in the schedule, because I think that will help. At least I want to teach that way. It'll help my enrollment so my classes don't get canceled. And I'd like to be able to pursue that because it's been so beneficial for me. For students appreciate the flexibility, especially as we're like transitioning back in person. And then our certificate classes, we only have one section for the whole year of our certificate classes. So students, a lot of the students are like, I want to be online. I live out of the area. I started online, and we want to make sure they complete. And then other students are like, I really need it in person. It's an in-person discipline. I want to be in person and learn for the fitness and yoga. So you're just kind of caught in this dichotomy, like how do I offer it? And so being able to offer that. Now that one, we don't allow recordings because it's a hands-on and we want to see them teaching and give them feedback. So only in the sense of like someone like missed the class because they've been sick, and I go, okay, watch the recording, send me notes. But it's just sort of a dual modality where we do it by video and in person. And it's been really helpful for the success of our certificate program, so the classes don't get canceled. We actually have a program left. So I just want to put that out there. If anyone has any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them. It's a bit of a learning curve and takes a little bit of extra work, but once you get going on it, it's a good opportunity to help with the enrollment issue and serve students in ways that work for them. So I'm happy to talk to anyone about that.
Thanks, Tara. Okay, moving on to staffing. And before I do that really quick, Jake, to answer your question in the chat, I will talk with Matt about that. It doesn't sound like that would be a problem, and support that any way I can. So I just have to make sure, because there is the transitioning of the chair happening. And so that wouldn't actually spring 23. I'm not going to have anything to do with the schedule other than asking for the classes I'd like to teach. So I'll make sure though that message gets forwarded through. Let's see. And thank you, Venona, for your comments. So staffing is coming up, and it's something that's kind of an ongoing thing in our department and every department. And we're at the point in our KAD staffing procedure where we are getting close to voting time on what everybody feels should be our next full-time position. And those are just recommendations to our dean, who then makes a recommendation to a committee of people, who then makes a recommendation to the vice president, and then so on to the president, and so on to the board. And so we are kind of the first step. And so to be unified as a department from a faculty standpoint gives Matt perspective so that he can look at our recommendation and make his decision from a dean's perspective. And that's kind of how it works all the way up. So I sent the information out to all of you along with the list of current positions that are in kind of the hopper that people will have to choose from. And we had a couple of additions to the list. We have currently 9 positions in the list, and not in any specific order: tennis, softball, wrestling, APE, athletic trainer, strength coach, head of athletic performance and student success, men and women's water polo, which was added this year, and Petaluma generalist, which was added this year. Those are positions that you would have the opportunity to vote on. So very soon we're going to be sending you data about these positions so that you can have a more educated vote. And hopefully they'll answer questions about the positions that you may have. And also, if there's a position that's not on this list, we missed it for this year's go around, but please send me information on new positions and we add them to the hopper. And when this time comes around next year, they'll be part of that list. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that where we are in that process, how important that process is, and how important it is that we hear from you when it's time to vote. And if you have questions, please let me know. But more information is going to be coming very soon. We need to update a couple of the write-ups, and based on our timeline departmentally that we decided on, we have a little bit of time before that needs to come out. But the vote typically happens right at the end of the semester, and then that allows our dean to look at that recommendation, have some time to maybe do further research or look up more information, whatever it is. That gives him time to prepare his presentation for the next opportunity. So if you have questions, you have information you want to send, I'd be happy to add it in there. Any questions on staffing, on where we are? This is different than the adjunct interviews that Matt was talking about earlier today. This is for full-time faculty positions that we vote on every year. And so if you're confused saying, well, we were just talking about interviews and all that stuff, that's a separate issue of staffing. We are doing adjunct interviews for the different areas Matt mentioned. And we are in the process of a hiring committee right now for a full-time faculty member and volleyball head coach. So there's different parts of the process going all simultaneously. So please let me know if you do have any questions. Our last committee is our, Tara, you want to talk about EDI, DEI, IDA, IKEA. What is the name of our committee?
DEI, yes. So unfortunately, I haven't really gotten a lot of response from the committee, so there's nothing to report. I got a response from you, Lenny, but I just trying to gather the team up and have some forward movement on it. So I'll keep trying and I'll come back next time.
All right. Thank you, Tara. We have lots of time left on our agenda. If there are any other items that anybody would like to talk about or discuss. Otherwise, it's nice to finish early once in a while. We could do that too. But I want to definitely give everybody the opportunity if there's something going on or a question you have right now. This would be a good time to, or if there's something you think our department needs to discuss.
Lenny, I have something. It's Tara. So yeah, I was thinking about our enrollment issues and coming back onto campus. I mean, it's going to be a big a big transition. And I just wanted to bring back up that in Petaluma before the shutdown, we were going to do like an open gym concept and a fitness center concept with the weight room. And I just want to throw that out there to the department as a possibility for Santa Rosa eventually. And the way it works is that you have classes set up, but they're like 3-hour blocks. So you would be assigned like a 3-hour block as a class, but students have the flexibility of attending any time to get their participation credit when the fitness center is open. But they do enroll in that credit class. So we get apportionment. But then they have flexibility on when they come in those open hours. And we use like a swipe card system, kind of like they do in tutorial, to log those participation hours. And then the class would be set up on Canvas. So they would complete, it'd be like, we already have the classes written, everything. There's like 4 classes. And the information and the content that they're learning would be on Canvas. And then the participation piece would be them going in and logging in. They have access to the instructor while they're there. They'd still do, fitness assessments in the beginning and the end, or whatever assignments would be, but they would just have more flexibility on when they participate in weight training. And it helps because a lot of students want to use our facilities sort of like, more like a gym scenario. And it's hard for them because they have to fit our class in between their schedule and they're kind of locked into that time. So that might help our enrollment to add that flexibility for students where they can access the gym, but we still get, we still have credit classes. We're still getting apportionment for that. It's still, created in the curriculum process. It's not like an actual fitness center. It's still a learning environment. So I just want to throw that out there as an option for enrollment. strategy about creating that type of format for SRPC.
And just so you guys know, there's conversations that we've had on how that would look on our campus, on the Santa Rosa campus. And we know that there would be times blocked for certain classes where that, you know, so that would not be able to be like an all day thing on the Santa Rosa campus, because we have
Right,
specific
correct.
things like
Yeah.
APE in there and athletics. And so,
Yeah.
but all the other times would be the times that we would consider maybe doing something
Yeah.
like that.
You would just set a schedule, like this is the open gym time, and the blocks that you need for individual classes would be blocked out. That's not the time when they could come in.
Yeah, I think this is fairly common across the state at other junior colleges that have good facilities. They're able to really utilize that format well, and they get a lot of community members enrolling in it too, because it allows them flexibility to have more like a gym membership and still have an educational experience. So that will be a full-on agenda item that we'll need to spend some time on in a department meeting to figure out if that is something we want to explore further for the Santa Rosa campus. We were hoping to see how it was going to work in Petaluma before we did it. So I think, you know, that's going to be on the
Yeah, I would
horizon.
love to
Yeah.
reinstate that. I don't know that now's the time for Petaluma for that, because enrollment is so low there. Like we need to have, I don't know, but, and it's also it's a big commitment for me to take on. The management of that is like a whole nother layer. So I'm pretty maxed out as it is, but if anyone else is interested in supporting that in Petaluma, we can try to launch it first and see how it goes. But I think it'd be a more successful launch in Santa Rosa. We just have a greater amount of students to pull from. And then if they had the option of going to Santa Rosa or Petaluma for their hours, depending on which campus they're at, that would be pretty ideal.
Good idea. All right, so is there anything else that anybody else has or questions that they have for the department right now? All right, man. So it's 3:11 and it's Friday, and I think the sun is shining up there in Santa Rosa, and there's lots to feel blessed about. So everybody have a great weekend if there's no other comments. And look forward to seeing you guys all next month. We keep chugging away and keep working on that enrollment. Have a great day, everybody.